Hey guys, this is Jesse with JTS Woodworking. A little bit different video for you. So what I'm doing here is I am putting a clear coat of epoxy on this guitar body that I actually built. And I built this probably a year and a half ago before I even started my channel. So sorry about that, but you'll get to see the process from here on out. I had a cherry round that I cut with a template from an existing guitar. I had a few cracks there that I filled with some tinted epoxy, and now I am doing the flood coats on all sides. A little tricky, but we got it figured out. This epoxy right here is really white because I introduced a lot of air into it when mixing it. But as you see, I chop it out, and as I hit it with the heat gun, it disappears, all the white disappears and gets all the air out. Actually, I use a torch. I do use a torch instead of a heat gun because I found that heat guns tend to blow a lot of dust and they create ripples in the epoxy, and this just works better. Just trying to get out any imperfections there. Alright, so now the epoxy's dried or cured a couple days later, and I am sanding and buffing. I think I sanded up to 3000 grit on both sides, all the edges, and I am buffing it out here with a 3-part polishing compound, and it turned out really shiny. Alright, so this part I'm drilling out a spot for the neck to go in. The neck was already pre-made. I took it off the guitar that I used for the template, so I'm not doing a full guitar build here. And I just started making these templates out of MDF. This is for the bridge. The hole goes all the way through. Just drilling out or hogging out the majority of the material firstly, and then I'm going to use a router with a pattern bit on it to finish up the job, and you'll see that. Alright, so here I got the template down with double-sided tape using a router with a pattern bit so it references the MDF there. And I did that with the neck pocket as well, and you'll see I did it with every other thing that I had to carve out. It worked really well. The templates I had to kind of make according to the other guitar I had. It was a really cheap guitar, so I wanted to make a nicer body for it. Alright, so now I'm carving out the back where there will be, the strings will go through, and there's some springs that hold tension on the bridge. I'm a novice as far as how guitars are built, so it was a learning process. And here I realized later watching it, I made the mistake. Why did I blow all that out? Why didn't I just use a vacuum hose? Created a mess. Oh well, live and learn. Alright, so now I am drilling holes in the neck because I wanted to put metal inserts so that it's really rigid, really strong, and there's no chance of stripping out the threads in the wood. So I drilled them to their appropriate width, put in these metal inserts with a little CA glue. And I put the neck there temporarily to align this template. And this is where all the pickups are going to sit. Now, I did order new pickups, but that's the only new electrical component that's on this. And I also wanted to do something different. Instead of a big faceplate on there, I wanted to show the epoxy inlay that I have there with the cracks. And I thought if I just put a whole faceplate on there, it's just going to cover that up. And then I thought, what if I do like a clear acrylic, but not a whole faceplate, just around the pickups and around the cavities where they need to be. So that's kind of the idea behind it. And I didn't show every step, but this is me cutting some of the acrylic so that it fits, and this is the faceplate that was on the old guitar. So I'm just using that as a template to carve this acrylic out. And I carved 3 of these pieces at a time so they'd be exactly the same. Alright, so now another cavity I'm carving out. This is for the bulk of the electronics, for the volume knobs, the selector switch, all that fun stuff. And learning how to wire it together wasn't that bad, just took some research. Alright, now wiring it up, I am putting the pickups in one at a time, making sure it all fits. You see that piece of acrylic there just acts as basically a mini faceplate for each pickup. Another thing I didn't show you that I was kind of bummed I didn't show you is drilling through to make the holes for the wires. You had to use I had to use a really long drill bit from the neck side and just be really careful. Also drilling the holes from the pickup holes to the cavity where the electronics are. There's a lot I didn't film. Next video I do on a guitar build, I'll show you the whole thing, and I'd actually like to make the neck too. So I'm just screwing these pickup in. Starting to look like a guitar. And soldering. I'm pretty comfortable with soldering. I do a lot of soldering at my job, but I realized the soldering gun that I had was way too big for this type of work. But I made it work. Alright, time to put or stuff all this wiring inside, trying to be very careful. And some of you may notice I made a mistake here, which I corrected later, and I'll tell you what that is. I made a mistake here and I wired it up incorrectly, and then I had to go back and redo it. Wasn't a big deal, but what I did was, see that yellow wire coming out there? Yeah, that's not supposed to be soldered to this plug. That is actually supposed to go through the guitar to the back and be soldered to a plate in the back as a ground, I believe, for the strings. So anyways, I fixed that later, but you get the point, right? So I soldered it together, screwed everything back together, everything back on, hoping the whole time that, man, all this trouble, I just hope it works. Alright, screwing the bridge down. I'm hoping everything lines up like it's supposed to. And here's that yellow wire that was supposed to come through the back. And I realized that, and I fixed it, and I was just thankful that it was a fairly easy fix. And now here's those tensioner springs that I'm putting on here. It holds tension on the bridge. And I made also a little plate to go over this as well, and you'll see that. There it is. So far I was thinking, yeah, it's looking pretty good. The only thing left to do here is to put the neck on and put strings on it. Alright, here's me trying to get the neck in. It was a tight fit. In retrospect, I probably should have gone back and did a little sanding, but whatever, I made it work. And then I was hoping that these Allen head bolts would line up, and it was close. But they lined up. I managed to get them all in tight without stripping any threads, and yeah. I am not an electric guitar player. I play acoustic guitar. I started off with electric and gave it up for acoustic. And even then I play simple chords. But it would be nice to get back to electric for a while. I'm just happy it works. And obviously I wired it together right. It's not perfect. There are a few things I want to adjust, string height, stuff like that. But it's done. It looks pretty good. So anyways, thanks guys for watching.